right now, if you were to go into the Bible, that's exactly what's happening. Revelation 16:16, all the kings of the world gather in a place called Armageddon. And that the prophecies and that we get from us Navajo, they call it Spider Woman. That she would return in the later times, the end times. Spider Woman is going to come over everything. Her web is going to cover the whole world. Her webs and even cover our brains and our mind is going to control what we're going to do. And that's when we know that Spider Woman has returned.
Sounds like the World Wide Web combined with some type of implant.
The way these people work, they have two pillars. You see, you have the Jackies and the Boaz, the J and the B. So these established pillars would be the 66 days and the 99 days. And in between, they call it like the center, the pyramid, the all-seeing eye, the top of it is usually like with the 66 on it, which is Cancer.
Hey, real quick, I just want to take a moment. Are you ready to power up your retirement for 2024? Silver's about to shine brighter than ever. Got some awesome news about this for all you silver tards out there. I'm one. Solar panels need silver to work. The amount of solar panels that are going to be used by 2035 is remarkable. So listen to this. Every solar panel needs silver. Panels are doubling every 3 years, and they're set to light up the entire world by 2035. Silver demand is going through the roof right now. And if you've got a silver IRA through Noble Gold Investments, not only does it make perfect sense, but if you qualify, you convert your 401 or IRA through Noble Gold Investments, they will gift you a 10-ounce solid silver American flag bar, or you can get 10 solid silver Trump rounds. 1-877-646-5347 is their phone number. Let them know Rex from Leak Project sent you. Ask about the free books and ebooks also. Incredible quick reads that will definitely help you get out of the rat race. Go to leakprojectgold.com as well as noblegoldinvestments.com. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They have countless 5-star reviews. Beautiful day. Let's get back to this presentation right now.
The Johannine Group. The Johannine Group is the group that they say wrote the book of Revelations. And a Johannine is also, the Johannine is what we call the sun for us Navajos. That's his name, Johannine. And then the Johannine in the Hebrew is the grace of God. Shitaha Johanna, Shitaha Johanna is my father's son.
Yate. That means
Yate. Yeah. Yeah, Yate is like God is all around you. So God is all around.
Sounds very similar to Yahweh.
Yahweh, yeah. Yahate. For us Navajos, the Navajo language is like a sound. Is what we do is that word that we're doing, I guess you would say. Etsidi. Etsidi is the family that my family comes from, the Etsidi family. The Etsidi. They come from the silversmithing. Is when they when sparks are made, it would make the Etsidi sound. So that's how the Navajo Etsidi came about.
Hey everybody, Rex Bear, Leak Project. How the heck are you? Beautiful day today here in Southern Colorado. Had some rain last night. Just got back from the Northwest. Was searching for Sasquatch. I didn't have any luck, but that's okay. We're going to actually ask Shondell about that here in a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a fan favorite, personal friend of mine, great friend of mine, Shondell Lee. He was on the program about 2 months ago, I would say approximately. Flew by. People loved what you had to say, as did I. And today we're going to talk about cycles. We're going to talk about the ancients and what appears to be in these cycles. It's like meet the new boss, same as the old boss, just as a metaphor. And I want to hear what you have to say about it, Shondell. And thank you so much for being a guest. How the heck are you?
Thank you very much for having me again, and greetings everyone. The cycle is pretty much we're on the cycle. We're on the kingdom cycle, I guess you would say, and the kingdom of this world would be the crown king, which is King Charles.
Yeah.
He's actually the 13th monarch from when their monarchy started, when their merging began. So this cycle is pretty much linked with them altogether. His reign, he's the 13th monarch. His reign began on the 8th of September of 2022. And the 8th of September, when you break that back into like Roman and Greek times, the 8th September is actually like the number 7. So you get the 7 and the 8. With the 7 and the 8, you get the symbolism of a scythe and an hourglass. You get a scythe and an hourglass. The scythe is symbolism of a time of harvest, and the hourglass is pretty much time's up and a reset, restart kind of a point.
So that's what you think's going on right now with the kingship? It's connecting to a restart?
Yeah, the dots are pretty much adding up a whole bunch of times with, especially with like the 7 and the 8. If you put it into the mirror, you also get the 8 and the 7, which is in the Romans and the Greek. You also get the octo hepta, which is the 8 and the 7. We also translate it to October 7, and we have that big event that happened October 7, 2022. When or not 2022, 2023, when Putin turned 70 years old.
Okay.
That number 70 in the religious world is also a really big number. The Septuagint is the number 70. So 70 is a huge, huge number for this, whatever's going on. Establishing the new king, the new light that's been measured since I don't know when. But these measurements that I've calculated, you have to have like a doorway, a basic doorway, a Bowies and a jockeys and Bowies, the B and the J, the light and the dark. Those two have that perfect merging in these times that are happening right now with like the solar eclipses that happen. And these solar eclipses are not just any regular solar eclipse. They're total solar eclipses where the sun is completely blocked out and the day pretty much turns to light, I guess you would say. From whatever I was calculating on, it all began on March 7, 1970, which is, if you were to count from January 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to that date, that specific date, you'll come up with the 66th day, March 70, 1970. Yeah, you have the 66 here, and then you have there's 4 different solar eclipses that happened between 1970 and the last one that happened in 2024. The one that happened in 2024, the April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse was 99 days. So with those 2 dates, you have the 66 and the 99. There you have a created doorway by jockeys and a Boaz. From the March 1, it was on a Saturday. And these the 3 other eclipses that followed afterwards were all on a Monday.
How is that significant?
It's significant because it's a measuring point. It's a measuring point of how these occult people work. They have to have an established doorway. They have 2 pillars that they make. And those 2 pillars were the dates, or the measurement of the dates, 99 days and the 66 days in between. So whoever done this were really smart at measuring and calculating, I guess you would say.
And you're linking all this back to the kingship, the current kingship.
It's linking back with significant events, such as they say the Antichrist will come in a time of peace. And this man-made doomsday that's going on right now seems to be linking onto time, whatever this time is going on right now. Because we're still in a new millennium, I guess you would say, if you were to measure it with God's time, because God's time, 1,000 human years is like one God day. So we're just barely like 24 years into, we're like a little pin. But with these 24 days, if you start back from 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, you go A, B, C, all the way up. We're right now on the letter X. So we have X, and then you have Y, and then you have Z. The 2025 is the letter Y. The letter Y is like a two choice. We're coming up as one group, and we have two choices. We either pick the spiritual realm, or we just keep on going to whatever destruction that we're going to go to. And with the Y, it's also the symbolism of a snake's tongue, I guess you would say. And after that would be the X, Y, and the Z is the last letter. The last letter is the 26th letter. 2026 is a really good measurement. If you were to go two years back, you'll go back to when Napoleon declared himself emperor of the world. And that date is like echoed back on like The Simpsons and all them, that May 18 or whatever it was.
So what I'm gathering so far is you've talked about these connecting points in magical processes where you'll have specific dates, and then the numerology in between these dates is this bridge is significant. You've mentioned the Antichrist and
Yes.
the cycles that you see there connecting back to 1970. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And wow. All right, man. I think I'm keeping up. Please.
Yeah, you have like two the way these people work, they have two pillars. You see, you have the Jockeys and the Boaz, the J and the B. So these established pillars would be the 66 days and the 99 days. And in between, they call it like the center, the pyramid, the all-seeing eye, the top of it is usually like with the 66 on it, which is Cancer. The biggest significant Cancer that happened was the George Guidestone, which was July 6th, 2022, I believe it was. And that date is also, there's a bunch of linking connections that you can throw onto that date with destruction, hope, and just everything. That number 7-6 is a huge changing, I guess you would say. It's the number for change.
And now, yeah, and 7-6 is 13, and there was a lot of connections to the
42
76.
And, yeah.
July, folks, the 7-6 referring to July 6th.
Yeah. And the best connection that I like is the Ezekiel 7-6, which is, it has come, Lord, it has come. See it, it has come. The end has come. And that's like the destructive passage, I guess you would say. And then if you want to be hopeful, you'll go to like Genesis 7-6, which would be Noah was 600 years when the flood waters came onto earth. So it's like that number is like, I don't know if they know that, if they use that number as that sort of frequency, is to like kind of like set the destruction, set the chaos, and after that they know what frequency to use.
No, when you say they know what frequency to use, though, go into detail on that more.
It's like a heavy metal song. Like when you're peaking, and like when you go onto a heavy metal song, you come to like a somber beginning. Everything is like total destruction and coming up, and then it kind of builds up pillars, and then it comes to that hopeful, like, yeah, we're gonna win, and we just kind of like lose it again. So maybe our history is built on those sorts of chaos and coagulation. Make it swampy, make it muddy. We're in a mud bog, the mud bog of time. We're in a mud bog, dude. But the 7 and the 8 is very significant. It's been showing up everywhere, and I've been tripping out because it's like, what the heck? It's not being hidden, I guess you would say.
And when we talk more about these cycles, let's get into these cycles more. In 2012, before that happened, the media was pushing the Mayan calendar and, oh, the end of the world. And really, in 2012, doing some research, that's when the Earth went above the galactic equator, which means we're going above the darkness, actually, if you look at it as an oscillating system. So it seems like it could be a very beautiful thing, right? Like we're moving above the darkness. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? And is there any connections with the prophecies and the teachings that you were given growing up?
The prophecies and that we get from us Navajos, they're very they call it Spider Woman. That she would return in the later times, the end times. Spider Woman is going to come over everything. Her web is going to cover the whole world. Her webs and even cover our brains and our mind is going to control what we're going to do. And that's when we know that Spider Woman has returned.
Sounds like the World Wide Web combined with some type of implant. Just
Yeah,
thoughts going through my mind.
yeah. The thoughts going through our mind and is reading it, and how they have that neural link, and there's like 64 hair size wires that connect to our brain, and that number 64 is also like a crazy significant number, I guess you would say.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that's happening now with the return of Spider-Woman?
Yes. I believe every prophecy that was written by every creed, race, sect is actually it's going down, I guess you would say.
Everything, though?
What's that?
Everything that's written about?
Yeah, it's basically what we would call the end times. Yeah, it's the end times.
So you think we're in the end times then? Like not a new beginning. You're looking at things a little bit more. When you say end times, like biblically,
It's biblically, yeah, because the biblical one is just pretty much a whole restart of this whole civilization that we've been living, this merchant exchange and slave until you drop until you die or whatever. It's a, I don't know if it's being played out or being renewed, but people that have been studying this stuff, they know that this new system that's coming is just the same beast. This is a beautiful, prettier beast. Dead is the old dragon, the ugly dragon, and out rises the diamond phoenix. I guess it was their motto.
so you're saying that you see the I'm not understanding. I'm trying. What? So you think we're at the end times, or we're coming up to something new, or it's just more of the same, but in a new package that looks pretty?
These we are in the end times. Yes, the end times that was measured. Like I said, it was measured. Like I don't know who measured it. Whoever made the Bible, whoever constructed the Bible from the year 0 to 16, whenever King James refined it and published it out to the whole everyone for everyone to read. So these times were measured. Yes, the planet X, planet X, planet X, planet X, planet X. The letter X is the number 24. The number Y is the next number that's coming up, which is the serpent's tongue.
And then Z, what does that represent?
Z, zombies. The Z is pretty much just emerging. You know, you have two realms that are going, and it's just a linking of the two. The Jesus character is a linking between the heaven and the earth. The Tian, Christ Tian, Xian is a Chinese word, and that's the connection of heaven and earth. So I don't believe the Bible is like whatever the heck the scare factor of it. I believe the Bible as a measuring factor of planned events, that it's the destruction that's coming. Yes.
Okay.
And that's the part that normal people that are not gonna, their brain's not gonna consume that, because we are fixed with the Bible. The Bible's teaching of like everything's holy and there's hope coming and this and that, but that's how it was written for us to float, to stay buoyant, I guess you would say.
Now, I've definitely heard the theory that the Bible itself, and I've thought this, like Revelation, is it's some type of blueprint for certain family bloodlines, etc. Then they could say, well, it's prophecy, or they could attempt to mimic it and say, oh, it's prophecy. Yeah. With that in mind, they're really good at it, and it seems that there's an outside influence that is helping put these pieces together. It does seem sometimes. Yeah. Also, you could take certain scriptures and you could connect it to multitudes of people. You know, I mean, a great point that someone brought up recently. I was talking to my son, and he's like, "Well, you know, they've been saying every president for the past X amount of years is the Antichrist, right? Because there's certain things that can connect you."
It doesn't matter what's going on because they already have it set. There's already an A and a B. They don't give what's in between. They already have that. It's already set. Like you can see it.
When do you think we're going to see more events that could be biblical take place?
When he gets elected.
Okay.
The year of the snake is 2025. The year of the snake and the serpent. The fire snake, I believe it is. The year of the wood.
The year of the wood?
Yeah, they call it the fire snake, I believe.
Okay. That's cool. Well, every 12 years in Chinese astrology is the year of the snake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. What do you think about that? You think that's linked to him somehow based upon his star chart, like his astrology?
I believe they're all in on it. Whoever these religious people are, they just seem to be playing the same game. That whatever happened on the 13th of January, the 13th of July, that day, I believe they call it Fool's Paradise. It's always been known as Fool's Paradise. It's like that day is like when you get up and you think you're in paradise, you have to watch out because they call it Fool's Paradise. That exact day, July 13th, 7/13.
When we had the great eclipse 4/8, then the scripture 4/8 that pretty much describes the eclipse that happened 4/8. That was pretty cool. It does seem like there's a higher connection on these.
Yes, it's crazy. Like you see it, it looks like Magus. The Magus is like I believe it's Nostradamus's third Antichrist. But there's a passage, there's a quatrain where he talks about how Mabus is going to die, and that's when once Mabus passes away and dies, that's when this system goes with it. So he becomes the candidate for Mabus, Magus, and also Magog, Magog. You go to Ezekiel 38, and that number 38 is another huge number. That's what's his name? JFK Jr. passed away at the age of 38 years old. The 38 years between the 1979 solar eclipse, the last solar eclipse of the millennium, to the 2017, 38.
3 + 8, 11. Yeah.
Yeah. I've also been like studying Hebrew and the linkage between the Navajo language. And there's a whole bunch of different discrepancies, I guess you would say. One of the biggest ones that I seen was the New Year's for the Hebrew word for New Year's, which they call it Shanaha Nasha, Shanahasha. In Navajo, that means to just walk in circles. I was like, what the heck? That's a total Navajo phrase right there. But that's the word for the New Year's in Hebrew, which is to walk in circles for Navajo. And these new plans. Oh yeah, these new plans that are happening also is in a location called Astana, Kazakhstan, and that's just a random place. People like, okay, well, whatever. But if you look more into that Astana, Kazakhstan, that is the home of the apple. The fruit, the apple. You go into the Bible, the apple is a huge game point or a game piece in the Bible. The apple is what the serpent gives Eve, I guess you would say.
Where is this?
Astana, Kazakhstan. Astana. Oh, yeah, the new world order's capital, the capital city of the new world order.
No way.
Yeah, it's right in our face. This shit is this. They just put that stuff right in our face, and when the transition happens, it's going to be like a snake changing his skin.
Describe that to me as far as how do you know it's the capital of the New World Order?
just look at it. You have every merging of traditions, every merging of beliefs, every merging of what you would find the definition of the New World Order, I guess you would put it. The 1,000 points of light all meeting together in one spot in the home of the apple.
Though administered as a city with special status separately from the rest of the region.
Yeah, that the apple is also, they call it the Malice, Malus, Cyversi. And if you put that Malice word, Malus, and you spell it backwards, you get Salam, Sulam. Salam alaikum is the greeting in Arabic. The gene code for the apple is the Malice Cyversi. And if you were to take that word, the Malice, Malus, and you were to spell it backwards, Sulam, it would spell pretty much salam. And salam alaikum is the greeting in Arabic. Like, how are you? Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. God is great. Today is also a really significant day. Today, they call it, for the Arabic Islamic people, they call it Ashura. And Ashura to us is just like, all right, whatever, another one of them holidays. But if you go into detail of what Ashura is the day Noah received his prayer, his instructions from God to part the Red Seas.
What is your theory on how that was done, or the metaphor behind that? The Red Seas being parted.
Parting of the Red Seas. Mm-hmm. I believe it's like whatever's going on right now. This rift that's happening. Everything begins at that start point that is happening. Israel, I guess you would say, the Suez Canal. And if you look into the Suez Canal, the treaty and all that stuff began like in the late 1800s. And when all these treaties were established and put out, Egypt gifted the needle of Cleopatra to three spots, which was New York, London, and I believe it was Paris. So New York, one of New York's oldest monument is actually from Egypt. And they have 4 crabs underneath it. And the crab, it signifies Apollo, they say. But that crab is also the significance of Cancer, which is the Georgia Guidestone Day.
Huh. The date of, not the date it was put up, but the date it was set down, dropped.
Yeah.
Blown up.
And also the Cancer Day would be for 7/8. The 7/8 is very significant. 7/8 is July 8th. And on July 8th, all over the world, 99% of the earth is like covered in sunlight. So July 8th is the sun's birthday, I guess you would say. The sun's actual day of shining.
That would be a day of, I would think, if you're going to look at magic in just 2 aspects, like if you're going to say white magic and dark magic, I would say that would be a day of white magic. Right? You know your biblical prophecy pretty good, and your scriptures.
I lived through it when I was in Iraq. That was the only literature that we were allowed to read when I was there. It was the Bible.
Really?
Yeah, we weren't allowed to write anything down. We weren't allowed to have any journals or anything like that. It was pretty strict, I guess you would say.
Well, I could see that, just because they wouldn't want any of that information being passed on, but also the fact that they wouldn't let you read outside of the Bible, but they let you read the Bible. Now, was it a specific version of the Bible?
Yeah, this is a regular combat Bible. It would be like a Bible with camouflage on it.
Okay, so it's like a King James version, or
it's a regular King James, and
probably more like a New International version, an NIV or whatever. But okay.
Yeah, it just has like a rougher cover, waterproof and stuff.
Camouflage.
Yeah, camouflage.
Gore-Tex.
So
Got you.
religion was pretty much
C4 in
forced
there
on
in
me.
case you need it.
I didn't want to learn this stuff. I don't want. I try to get away from it, but it's like the more you get away from it, the more you see it. It's just everywhere.
Well, I mean, I know sometimes you'll be watching the news and you'll be sending me all sorts of links, or you'll watch
Oh
a
yeah,
video, and it seems like it really does get to
it reflects.
yeah, it gets to a point where sometimes you have to kind of like step back and say, "Whoa, man, I'm gonna put my
Oh
feet in
yeah,
the sand. I'm gonna go,
yeah,
jump in the
yeah.
lake for a little bit and relax."
I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
No,
I
don't
just send
apologize.
them.
It's cool.
Yeah, I just send them because it's like a link between because the way the world is happening, whoever is running the show uses the as above, so below the technique, the as above, so below technique, I guess you would say. And one of the big crazy thing is like how there's like 100. Did they say there's 128 confirmed impact craters on Earth?
Okay.
128, right? And that number 128 is the number of years the time capsule was underneath Salt Lake City. May 18, 2020 was when it was extracted. It was put into the ground on May 18, 1804.
Okay.
So 128
Yeah. Which
years.
once
That
again
you
equals.
remember that there was the angel Moroni on top with the trumpet.
Oh yeah.
It shook and he fell off. So that point is significant. The
That happened
128
on that
is,
day?
yeah, the
No,
one the
really?
128 is confirmed impact craters. But with the impact craters, I linked it with fallen angels. There was 200 fallen angels that fell to Earth. If you go around the world, you have 128 confirmed. So if you look a little bit more, you'll probably find them other that will go to the 200 fallen angels.
Made me think of 72 for some, which is the difference between 128 and 272.
Yeah, but
72nd degree. There's a significant between 72 as well. But at the same time, like you got to, I'm just talking out loud here in this conversation we're having. I'm wondering at what point do you say, well, every number is significant? Like what number
yeah,
isn't significant? Um, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about that? Like, okay, well, 37 is significant because of this, 128 is significant because of that, 42 is significant because it's the sum of all things, especially in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or the 42 Laws of Ma'at.
The 42 is actually significant because of the rainbow.
Okay.
That is where the rainbow perfectly bends at the 42-degree angle. If you go to 41, you'll get a lopsided oval. If you go a little bit more, the 42-degree is the perfect arch of the rainbow. The 42 and 42, you get like, is it 84? So you get the full circle. And the 84 has been thrown around all over.
Okay. And
You
84
get
would equal 12. 8 plus 4 is 12.
you get the big one, the mind control, the 1984.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2 plus 2 equals 5, and the blah blah, and the 84. So that's how these people work. It's the frequency. See when you say it's that's the set.
Interesting. They're looking at it more as they analyze process with numbers more analytical. Maybe it's just a side effect. It's just a after effect of the actual process put into place. Very interesting.
So a lot of these travels that were happening in the 1,000 years that passed were all biblical. We're all biblical slated. We're people that were led by pastors, priests, and saying that this is where, this is where, this is where. They were pretty much the lodestone that was guiding the spiritual journey onto this establishment that's happening right now. These planned events, and these fallen angels could just be counted craters that all these monks and pastors like collected over the 1,000 years that they journeyed all over the earth, and they like, all right, we counted 200 rock impacts. We'll call them like fallen angels, just to scare the public, scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, but then
And
how would you link
that's
it
the
with
cycle that I'm talking about. The cycle that happens every 100 years.
the problem with that theory is though the different teachings that they brought
Mm.
according to the teachings that have been translated by specific people, and there's obviously certain agendas behind that, and it doesn't make it any less true or any more true, but it's fascinating because each being, each angel that's referred to as an angel, they have a specific teaching that they give to the humans, to the earthlings. And I think like one of them obviously is fire. I like fire, and
Yeah.
arts. And there's a lot of actually really cool teachings that were given to the people. And so to connect that with Prater, there's a lot in between those two connections.
With the fire.
Well, I mean, just as one example, fire, but art. If I haven't read it in a while, but the Book of Enoch
Oh yeah.
describes, how
The fire for us Navajos would be the as below. The as below would be the fire, and the fireplace in the sky, the as above, is the northern star, the Polaris. For us Navajos, that's the central fireplace,
cool. I could see that. The central star,
which
central
keeps the night. Yeah.
fireplace. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. And the other, I don't know if the Knights Templar like reached every part of the world, and one linking that us the tribe the Navajo language has with like the Bible is also the Johannine group. The Johannine group is the group that they say wrote the book of Revelations, and a Johannine is also the Johannine is what we call the sun for us Navajos. That's his name, Johannine, and then the Johannine in the Hebrew is the grace of God. Shitaha Johanna, just Shitaha Johanna is my father's son.
Yate. That means
Yate, yeah, yeah,
hello.
Yate is like God is all around you. So God is all around.
Sounds very similar to Yahweh.
Yahweh, yeah, Yahate. For
Very.
us Navajos, the Navajo language is like a sound. Is well, what we do is that word that we're doing. I guess you would say Etsity. Etsity is the family that my family comes from. The Etsity family. The Etsity. They come from the silversmithing. Is when they when sparks are made, it would make the Etsity sound. So that's how the Navajo Etsity came about.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, what's the connection? Didn't you say that there are some teachings that link the native tribes to Mars?
To what?
The the native tribes to
To
Mars,
Mars?
like the Hopis, as an example, the Navajo, which is also referred to as the Dene. Like
Yeah.
you refer to as the Dene before the Navajo, right?
No.
No,
No, the word Dene came about in the 90s, and a whole bunch of older people were against that, were against the changing of Dene because they didn't want to put us as like segregated from everybody, like a special unit. And for the word Dene is kind of like a suspicious, I guess you would say to me, for this World Economic Forum that is happening right now, that is trying to envelop the spider web that is going on right now, I guess you would say.
interesting. And didn't the Navajo Nation just get turned down to join the UN?
The UN, yeah, that was back in 2017, I believe. They
That's
just kind of
weird.
got laughed at. Yeah,
That is weird. Like, why?
that is very weird, and
That's
I
so
thought that
bizarre.
was strange.
That literally makes no sense to me. You think that they would have open arms if I mean, just in my opinion, I would think they would be like, yeah, we would love to have you. It would be an honor.
Mhm.
We're here to bring
Yeah,
equality to the world. The
yeah.
Russians can't join and the Navajo can't join. What are your thoughts on the fact that they wouldn't let the Navajo Nation, they didn't want the Navajo Nation in the UN? What?
Because the plan is the whole takeover. Like I said, the UN is in on it. The UN is pretty much King Charles, and King Charles is the top dog. King Charles is the expert UFO psychic ghost. He's every topic that you've had on your show is he's the master of it. He's Professor King Charles. He's been studying this stuff since he's been born. He's the king. He'll have people that, hey, you can turn yourself into a dog. Show me.
Now, what do you think about that portrait that he had done?
It's just linked. It's whatever's going on. Like the pale horse. The pale horse. The symbolism for a pale horse is the trident pitchfork. The trident pitchfork is Zelensky, the Z, the 26th letter. It's all there. You go to The Simpsons, you get Kosovo Autumn. It's like Kosovo is just like some regular spot, but no, it's not. That's the spot where that's Alexander the Great's hometown. That's his kingdom. That's where this whole idea of a world began.
Greek philosophy?
Do what?
Greek philosophy? Is that you linking it to the Greeks?
The Greek philosophy? No, everything is built around Alexander the Great. If you every story is to him.
Yeah, wasn't he the what kingdom did he fight for? What was his
he's the beginning of Rome. Greek and Rome.
Yeah, great. Wasn't he Greek?
He was his own god. He was I don't even know what that word is, but he had the different colored eyes.
But did he have red hair too? Was he?
Do what?
I wonder if he had red hair.
I believe he did.
Great have red
hair. So I believe like everything is like it's all planned out. We're just in the motion of it. That word Nero, like the Roman Emperor Nero.
Yeah.
That word Nero means water. Oh. So that could be like the flood in the Bible, like the great deluge, Nero's, whatever he did, effed over the empire.
Yeah.
So the word Nero means water.
The water bear.
Like the opposite plane is like how he burned it. He was playing the fiddle. You have fire, and his name is water. It's like a strange. That's how these wizards, witches, and warlocks. That's how they operate in this realm, in this Reich, in their kingdom. We're just here to work and pay taxes.
Because they love us, dude,
and be good citizens.
Yeah, duh. You got
there's no need to be like a bad person. I mean, we should stop fucking each other over. I mean, it's not getting us nowhere. I mean, it's just repeating the cycle, the dog eat dog world kind of concept.
Yeah. I hear you there, man. Galactic equator. We're going up, folks. 2012 galactic equator. That's why things are feeling so cool right now. I mean, I don't know about you, not you personally, because I know about you personally. Oh, yeah. Like your psychic abilities are through the roof. We've been noticing an increase in what appears to be telepathy. You think it there, and then it happens. Not just somebody that you haven't talked to in years, all of a sudden sends you a message after you think about them. But one person will send you a photo of. I'll give you an example. My friend Angela, she was at a recent event that we did. She sends me a photo where she's a Capricorn. She's got red hair, and she's very into the zodiac, right? And she's talking about different symbols and hand gestures, etc. She sends me a photo that she did a few years ago connected to a video where she's got her finger like this on her mouth, like it's the middle finger. And she says, look at the meaning to this. Well, literally minutes before that, I get a message on Facebook from somebody that I don't even know, but they leave posts on my Facebook page because they watch the project, and thank you. But they send me a message of the real meaning behind the middle finger, like that. And I'm like, this is freaking weird, man. You know,
Crazy.
I mean, that's more than just getting a phone call from somebody that you haven't talked to in a few years, and all of a sudden you think about them, they call. So
Yeah.
that's like next level kind of stuff, and that's regular routine now, and not just for me, for a lot of people that I'm talking to, and family members and stuff. It just seems to be this unity.
Oh yeah.
Now we could look at this one of two ways. It's a part of the natural evolution of our spirit and where we are in the universe and where we are on the earth and where we are in our evolutionary process, or the powers that be now are so accurate and so powerful at manipulating society that they can create archetypes and thoughts and set in motion certain patterns for people to think and do specific things in certain ways. That's kind of frightening.
Yeah. Crazy.
I think both are true, actually. I think that both are
Oh
very
yeah. But once you understand that this realm is controlled by the wizard, the witches, and the warlocks, it becomes a lot easier to move around. You lose that fear factor, I guess you would say, where it would kind of like, I guess those fear factors were like gates that were established. That whoever's in control doesn't want. They want to be in control. They don't want. They don't want to be a normal person, I guess you would say. I don't know. I really don't know how it is to be godlike, I guess you would say.
well. If you're from a environment where you can pretty much have whatever you want and you're treated like somebody that has elevated status,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you lose that, especially if it's in your DNA through thousands of years, it would be pretty interesting. I didn't read the article, but I did see a headline about how Kevin Bacon, which I'm a huge fan of him as an actor,
Yeah.
he said that he went out in public as a normal person one day incognito, and he said it
Mm.
sucked. He said people were cutting in front of me in line, and so.
Oh yeah.
And I could get that, I would definitely be much rather be like, oh, Kevin Bacon, sure, man, come on in. But then you might get a bit tired of it some days. Where you're like, I've signed 50 autographs, man, today alone. But anyway, it makes sense.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what do you think
The
about
wizard.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh no, no. Go ahead.
I was
Ask me
going to
another
say,
question.
what do you think about this? So if we look at some of the stories about the giants, and some people say, they got up to 10 feet, 12 feet, 20 feet, the size of mountains. And Sleeping Ute, as an example, looks super cool.
Oh yeah.
It does look like the outline of a giant. I personally think it's just a mountain, but a really cool
Yeah.
mountain. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
just a mountain, a really cool, amazing mountain with much around it. But what are some of the stories that you were taught growing up that maybe a lot of people didn't hear about giants and such?
A lot of stories they revolve around the coyote, the Mutty. Don't do as the Mutty does. But one of his giant story was he was walking through the desert on one hot day, and he was walking and walking and walking, and he came across this like valley and like a cave. He crawled into the cave and he started going, and the light started changing to a little bit orangish color, and he seen the person crawling there like tired, about to die, and he was all like, "What's wrong with you?" And that person was all like, "You're inside of the giant. You need to get out of here." So the coyote's looking around me like, where's the giant? I don't see no giant. It was huge. Everything is orange, and the the flesh walls were just exactly like the background that you have right now. So he was walking and walking and walking, and he came across a group of other natives that were laying there half dead, and they were saying that we're almost dead. We're inside of the giant. We've been in here for. They were telling him how much days they were in there. So the giant, the coyote was all, "You guys are so stupid. Like, you're inside of a giant. You say so. His walls must be meat. Let's go eat him." So he went over there. He started cutting off the walls, and they built a fire, and he started eating, started having a good time, and next the next whenever it started, like an earthquake or whatever started happening, and that so then the coyote was all like, okay, so we are in a giant. All right, let's go figure out how we're gonna get out of this giant. So then another guy came out and he said he walked a little bit further to the south and he seen a volcano out there. He said, all right, the volcano must be the heart. So they made a plan to go up to the heart and mess with the giant's heart. The coyote and his companions, they went up to the heart and they started like throwing stuff into it, cutting off his meat, cutting off the flesh of his side and making meat, barbecuing inside of him, I guess you would say. And finally, the giant spoke up. He's all like, oh, what are you doing? And he's all like, get us out of here, man. Why did you swallow us? And then the giant was getting angry and he finally just they killed the giant, I guess you would say, and the giant were to like land, and his entire body opened, and that's what made the valleys of whatever, like the background that you see right now.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you link it to like the pearly gates, you know how they say like the pearly gates, like Jesus and the devil are sitting outside the pearly gates. The pearly gates, you call it the pearly whites, would be giant's teeth.
Giant's teeth or clouds.
Giant teeth or cloud, yeah. Yeah, so a lot of our stories are from the coyote. The coyote is the trickster. And the more research that I'm doing, the trickster in the biblical stories is Jacob. Can I read off a poem right quick?
Yeah, please.
All right. I call it The Wizards, the Witches, and the Warlocks. The Cosmic Bite. Conjurer worries none when they are spell casting. Storms have begun. Wicked is the forecasting. Warlocks go raging in maximum esteem as shadows imprint, afraid of the light foreseen. An amount has to be gleaned, sold in plain sight, which retrograding fury to be unlashed today or tonight. Redeem, bubbling redemption, bursting in a cauldron, secret recipe for silent destruction. The witch stirs so often. Where is the wizard? He is the magician hidden in plain sight.
Wow. You want to jump on over to our Patreon page for part 2? We talk about a lot of stuff on Patreon that we can talk about on Patreon. So check us out. And you can be a Patreon of Leak Project for as little as $1. And that definitely helps me continue to produce the podcast and spend the time that I do. Even though it's here in the garage, it's not cheap to do podcasts all day as a full-time gig. So thank you for your support. And please hit the bell for all notifications here on YouTube. Please hit the thumbs up, share the videos on social media, and be the change the world needs to see. And I'll see you on Patreon.